Welcome to this webinar conducted by Professor Academy. And this is the topic of today's webinar, UGC NET English Trends and Strategies. So we are going to look at some of the recent trends or the type of questions we get from UGC NET. And we are also going to talk about some of the strategies with which we can tackle these type of questions. First, let's get ourselves acquainted with the three categories you should apply for UGC NET. See, when you apply for UGC NET, you have the first category. It's kind of an eligibility test, right? So we have assistant professorship. Then you can also apply for JRF, Junior Research Fellowship, with which you can claim fellowship if you do PhD full time. And third, it also serves as an entrance exam for PhD. So when you apply for this exam, you had better choose JRF. So that will help you pass or help you with all the other categories. And we know this exam pattern. So we have paper 1 for 1 hour. So we have 50 questions, each carries 2 marks, so totally 100 marks. Then paper 2, totally for 2 hours, 100 questions, each carrying 2, so totally 200 marks. So today our focus is more on paper 2. So totally 3 hours, there is no break and there is no negative mark, so totally 300 marks. I would say ideally you have to score in paper 1, I would say around 35-40, and in paper 2, 65 to 70. So if you are aiming for JRF, then I think you should get around 68 to 70, then that will do. So let's say in terms of question, ideally 65 in paper 2, 35 in paper 1, around 100 or 110 questions if you get right, definitely you will get JRF. And in our academy, many have got JRF in their first attempt itself. And for paper 1, you can buy these books provided by Professor Academy exclusively for paper 1 with detailed analysis. Then let's also tell me about this today's webinar. Today's webinar is not about the basic books you have to read for English literature or literary theory, linguistics, and other subfields within it. So if you want some books recommended, if you want some book recommendation, you can watch our earlier webinar titled Starting from Scratch. So I have given the link. If you click this one, it will take you to the playlist. Even today's webinar will be posted under this category. And you can also subscribe to Professor Academy English channel where we post videos often. Then let's go to today's topic, UGC NET English Trends and Strategies. This is the type of question which haunts everyone. Questions based on chronology. There are a lot of types. Let's discuss some of them. So here is a question from June 2023, shift 2. Arrange the following writers chronologically in accordance with their years of birth. We have A. James Boswell, B. Edward Gibbon, C. Samuel Johnson, D. Edward Burke, C. Richard Brinsley Sheridan. Then choose the correct answer from the following options. So we have 4 options. Option A. So this is the order C, D, B, A, E. In the sense, Samuel Johnson, Edmund Burke, Edward Gibbon, James Boswell, then Richard Sheridan. Then B, C, A, B, E, D. Then C, option C, A, C, B, D, E. Then option D, B, C, A, D, E. See, when you get this type of question, don't panic. Because number one, I don't understand the purpose or logic behind asking this type of question. There's no logic in it. What they are trying to analyze or evaluate in a student, we don't know. So this is simply a trick that they want, they just want to frighten you, and this won't be a deciding factor in my opinion. Because if you are good at basics and if you are good at the intermediate level, this is an advanced question which no one should answer. So that's the aim. But if you are able to crack, then definitely you will be in the top. And most of the time, people don't know how to crack it. And maybe some tips here will help you. First, see, there are 5 writers. See, look at the option. 2 options begin with C, Samuel Johnson. And we understand all the writers belong to, age of Johnson somehow. And can anyone tell me, who wrote the biography of Samuel Johnson? So if you are able to identify that person, definitely we know that that person comes after Samuel Johnson, right? So yes, James Boswell. So definitely there should be C, then A, definitely not A, because James Boswell comes after Samuel Johnson. So we can eliminate option C out. Then we are left with, I would say A, B, D. Then just believe in you. So C, A and B both starts with C. So definitely it should be Samuel Johnson. Now you are left with 2 options. You can eliminate D. C, D, B, A, E or C, A. So do you think James Boswell comes immediately after Samuel Johnson, or maybe he comes after Edward Burke, Gibbon, then James Boswell, because he's a young guy, or at least he was young. Then one more thing, look at the options here. All the 3 options here, no, except B, they all end with option E, Sheridan. So we think Sheridan comes last. If you come to that conclusion, then what's the answer? So if Sheridan comes last, then Samuel Johnson comes first, then the answer is A. But how do we come to this conclusion? You should be familiar with the age, history of English literature, especially age of sensibility, also called Johnson, age of Johnson. So this is the chronology. First comes Samuel Johnson, born in 1709. Then Edmund Burke, 1729. Edward Gibbon, 1737. James Boswell, 1740. Then Sheridan, 1751. And we know James Boswell was the one who wrote this book, The Life of Samuel Johnson. If you know at least this minute detail, these minute details will help you crack, chronology-based questions. But let's talk about some of the strategies to tackle such questions. Strategy number 1. First, whenever you read history of English literature, go for writers of the same age. See, if the question were from, if the question had included writers from different ages, definitely you would have cracked it very easily, right? But the thing is, what makes this question tough? All the writers are from the same age. So this is where the trick lies. What you have to do when you read history of English literature, focus on the writers of the same age, then make a list. For instance, you have university wits. So there are a lot of writers under university wits, including Marlowe. Make a list chronologically in terms of their birth. Similarly, you can deal with metaphysical poets. So make a list of metaphysical poets, arrange the poets chronologically. So here is an activity for you. Task 1, once this webinar is over, do this. So we have Victorian poets. I have given Christina Rossetti, Tennyson, Browning, Arnold, Elizabeth Barrett Browning. Arrange these Victorian poets chronologically. Maybe you can use this book when it comes to detailed analysis of history of English literature, especially in terms of years. You can rely on Edward Albert's History of English Literature. So this is your job to do. Fine, you will be surprised, when you search for the years, who comes first. Let me know in the comment section who comes first in terms of birth, whether it is Christina Rossetti, Tennyson, Browning, Arnold, or Elizabeth Barrett Browning. Yes, one has answered. Yes, Priya. The answer is Elizabeth Barrett Browning. She comes first. Check it out. Who comes second? Who comes third? So this becomes an activity. So once you start doing small activities like this, definitely you will like, chronology. Okay, we'll go for the second one. Second one, works of the same age. See, earlier I told you, you should focus on writers of the same age, almost a similar strategy. works of the same age. Instead of writers, you take a particular age, you focus on some of the prominent or significant novels and their years of publication. For instance, you can focus on Victorian novels. So when we say Victorian novels, maybe you can take George Eliot, Bronte sisters, Dickens, maybe take their, kind of masterpieces. Maybe you can take Mill on the Floss or Middlemarch, or on the other hand, we have Tale of Two Cities. Note the years. Significant novels and their years of the same age. See, when it comes to chronology, if the works or writers from the same age are given, then we are doomed. So focus on works and writers of the same age. That's a trick to to approach this type of question. Then here is a task for you. Number 2, modernist novels. I have given a list of modernist novels. Now, Orlando, who wrote Orlando? Very famous work, exemplifying androgyny, a concept introduced by a famous feminist. Then we have Ulysses, is Orlando by Woolf. Then Ulysses, everyone should know the year of publication, because that year is also considered the birth of modernism, 1922, in which in the same year we have Wasteland, T.S. Eliot's Wasteland. Then we have Pointed Roofs, Dorothy Richardson, Lady Chatterley's Lover by D.H. Lawrence, then A Passage to India. Your job of these novels, of these modernist novels, find which one comes first or which one got published first. So that's the task for you. Then strategy number 3, works of the same author. See, now I'm shifting from British literature to Indian literature. These days you get chronology based question, not just from British literature. You also get questions from Indian literature and other writers from around the world. So what's the trick? I would say, when it comes to whether it is a British writer or any writer, first focus on the debut or the latest work of the particular author. So here is a task for you. See, maybe you can make a list of prominent Indian novelists or poets or playwrights, and just write the first work, the debut novel or the debut poetry collection of that particular Indian writer. So here is a task for you. So we have Amitav Ghosh. So I have given a list of works. Let me know of these novels which one came first, or what's his debut novel, whether it is Sea of Poppies or Gun Island or The Circle of Reason or The Glass Palace or The Hungry Tide. Which one came first? Or of these novels, which one is the latest? Right? Find out. Of course, the answer is Gun Island. And when you read about Indian literature, also read about the gist of each novel given here. So take it as a task. Arrange these novels by Amitav Ghosh chronologically. Next, besides authors and works, we also get concepts under chronology-based questions. So that would be strategy number 4. So whenever you focus on whether it is linguistics or theory, whenever you have concepts, arrange or try to understand the concepts chronologically. Which theory came first? Structuralism, then post-structuralism. So you should have, or you should read theories in chronological order so that you'll have a sense of time. So let's say, take this as an activity. Concepts across ages. Just focus on feminism. See, there are a lot of concepts in feminism. For instance, let me say androgyny by Virginia Woolf, or Helen Sixou's 𝐻𝐾𝐪 feminine. 𝐻𝐾𝐪 feminine means female writing. Or gynocentrism, or gynocriticism, or gynocritics, who came up with this concept called gynocriticism. Or anxiety of authorship, ANXIETY, anxiety of authorship. I have given you 4 concepts. What you can do, arrange these concepts chronologically, right? At least you can note down who came up with what, or what's the meaning of the concept. Similar way, we have a concept. I have given 4 concepts from structuralism and post-structuralism. Number 1, scriptable, then bricolage, 𝐵RICOLAGE, then signifier, then the fourth one, grammatology. I want you to arrange these, concepts chronologically. In the sense, find out, scriptable. The term scriptable was coined by Roland Barthes, who came up with this concept called bricolage, or who came up with this concept called signifier, grammatology. At least if you know, one is by Ferdinand de Saussure. So Ferdinand de Saussure comes first. So you can immediately identify of these four, which one came first. Answer definitely is signifier, right? Then arrange what's the next one, third one and fourth one. Okay. Then let's go for Dalit literature. Say chronology is tough, but when it comes to Indian literature, especially Dalit literature, we can make a list. We have prominent writers, we have prominent concepts. Definitely we can make a list, and in our class, the course we offer, definitely there is going to be a separate class on Indian literature and Dalit literature from this batch. So Dalit literature, let me ask a question. What is the correct chronological sequence of the following Dalit women writers in order of their birth? We have a chronology based question, but if you focus, if you notice, it's based on Indian writers, especially Dalit writers. So this question came in June 2024, which was cancelled actually. So here is the question. So we have 5 writers, Dalit women writers. Number 1, A, Urmila Pawar, B, Bama, C, Meena Kandaswamy, D, Gogu Shyamala, E, Kuman Pawar, KUMUD Pawar. Choose the correct answer from the options given below. So option 1, this is the order E, A, B, C, D. In the sense, Kuman Pawar, then Urmila Pawar, B, Bama, then Meena Kandaswamy, D, Gogu Shyamala. But let me give you a clue. Of these 5 writers, if you know who is kind of a recent one, a prominent Dalit women writer, if you just aware of that one, the chronology can be easily cracked. Bama definitely is not recent. She has been writing for years. Definitely not B. So I'm just asking you to focus on the end. So who could be the most recent one? If you know that, then definitely you know the answer. If you're aware of Meena Kandaswamy, then she should be the youngest. Then the answer is 2. So that's the order E, A, B, D, C. So Kuman Pawar, then comes Urmila Pawar, then B, Bama, D, Gogu Shyamala, C, Meena Kandaswamy. You might, you might tell me, sir, you know all these things, so you narrow down the answer to 2. It's not like that. No, once you expose yourself to, writers, especially Dalit writers, definitely you'll be able to crank this type of questions very easily. So where to start? I would say start with Dr. B.R. Ambedkar. His works and his life and his contribution and his revolution. So start with his work, Annihilation of Caste. Maybe at least read through or get the gist of Annihilation of Caste. Then concentrate on who were the Shudras, very famous work, 1946, published in 1946. Then the Buddha and his Dhamma, 1957. Then Waiting for a Visa. It was written in the 1930s. Then it was published posthumously in 1990. Then you can also watch this movie, Dr. Baba Sahib Ambedkar. So here is a question for you, actually 2 questions. One, who directed this movie and who played the title role? Which a Malayalam actor who played this title character, Dr. Baba Sahib Ambedkar. Who was that? So find out answer for these 2 questions, the director and the title role. Next, task 2 would be try to find out the authors of these famous Dalit autobiographies. So we have Scar from Tamil, Badu in Tamil. So translated as the Scar in English, written by 𝐾𝐤 So here is a list of famous Dalit autobiographies. So we have Baluta from Marathi, then Akar Mashi, AKKARMASHI, then The Prison We Broke, Jutan, JOOTH, very significant one, then Untouchable Spring, then My Father Balaya. You might have come across this work if you watched superstar Rajinikanth's, Kabali, where he reads this book, My Father Balaya. So what you have to do, find out the authors of these autobiographies. Take it as a task. Next, task number 3, where to start? Start from your own language. So, if you're a Tamil, you can start with Tamil Dalit works or Tamil Dalit novels. So we have some works, A Grip of Change by Sivagami, then Karukku, very famous one by Bama, then Pettavan or the Bigoted by Imayam, then Kugai, also called the Owl by 𝚘𝚗𝚘𝚗. Similarly, what you can do from your own mother tongue, from Telugu, from Malayalam, from Kannadam, from Marathi, you can make a list of prominent Dalit literary works or novels. That way you can initiate yourself into Dalit literature. Next. So if you need help, you can consult these anthologies, very famous anthologies. So we have for Marathi literature, modern Marathi Dalit literature, we have Poisoned Bread, edited by Arjun Dangle, DANGLE. Then for Tamil, the Oxford India Anthology of Tamil Dalit Writing, edited by Ravi Kumar and R. Alagarasan. Then there are also anthologies for Telugu, Malayalam, and Kannada Dalit writing by Oxford. Then parallelly we have other works, anthologies. No Alphabet in Sight, New Dalit Writing in South India, Dossier 1, Tamil and Malayalam, by K. Satyanarayana and Susitaru. Then Steel Nibs Are Sprouting, New Dalit Writing in South India, Dossier 2, Kannada and Telugu. So these are the famous anthologies. What you can do, at least buy one, get one. Maybe if you have it in your library, in your college or other libraries, borrow it just to go through the contents page. Definitely, you will get a glimpse of famous writers from our own Indian states. So that way you can familiarize yourself with Dalit literature. And maybe another way is to get the syllabus. So if you have Dalit studies in your syllabus, in your UG or PG syllabus, or search for Dalit studies prescribed in famous colleges, get the syllabus and you can get to know famous authors and their works. Next, this is the third topic, or I would say kind of a trend. We get a lot of questions these days from world literature. Earlier when we say NET exam, if you study a history of English literature, one book, definitely you get solidly around 35 to 40 questions or 50 questions. Then you get other questions, definitely you pass that exam. But these days you get a lot of questions from world literature. And how to tackle this one? Let's see. Try to answer this question from June 2023, shift 1. Who among the following is an Australian Aboriginal poet? Option A, Judith Wright. B, Keith Walker. C, Robert Frost. D, Maya Angelou. Of these, you can easily eliminate 2 because they were or they are American poets, very prominent American poets. So try to eliminate 2, then you are left with 2. Then the answer is B, Keith Walker, K-A-T-H Walker, also known as Oodrgo, O-O-D-G-E-R-R-O, Nunukal, N-O-O-N-U-C-C-A-L. Keith Walker or Oodro Nunukal, Australian Aboriginal poet. We also have Judith Wright, another famous Australian poet. But others, Robert Frost, Maya Angelou, American poets. So I would say strategy number 1, make a list of authors. When you focus on Australian literature or Canadian literature, you should always have a list, or as I told you before, if you have a solid syllabus in your UG or PG or any prominent colleges, get that syllabus and go through the prescribed authors and works. So I'm giving a list of prominent authors, maybe just a few from Australian literature. We have Douglas Stewart, a playwright, then Ray Lawler, Lawler, two famous playwrights, then poets Banjo Patterson, A.D. Hope, Judith Wright, then novelist Peter Carey, Kate Grunwald, David Meloff, Tim Winton, then Patrick White. So what you can do, let me know at least one novel by Peter Carey, Kate Grunwald, or David Meloff, or Tim Winton. Search out. Or at least one famous work by A.D. Hope, poem or poetry collection by Judith Wright, Banjo Patterson. So this is the first step towards learning world literature or exposing yourself to world literature. Maybe here is a book, a novel by Patrick White, The Tree of Man. And whenever you read world literature, if that writer is very famous, what you have to do, go for works in the chronological order. Okay. So what you can do, you have Patrick White, just make a list of his novels, arrange it chronologically. So that way, who knows? Patrick White is very famous, and who was the first Australian writer to win the Nobel Prize? First Australian. Check it out. And if you know that person, definitely you have to make his or her works chronologically. Next, this is task number 1. There are a lot of literatures in the plural. So how to go for it? So we have major authors. First step, go for major authors and major works in each literature. So we have African literature. The moment we say African literature, at least you should be able to recall one. There is one famous writer. Things Fall Apart. At least you know that. Then Canadian. When I say Canadian, who comes to your mind? At least one Canadian writer or Caribbean writer. French, German, New Zealand, Russian, or South African. So at least initially what you can do, when you think of a particular literature, you should be able to recall a prominent writer and his or her work. Now, when I think of South Africa, immediately I think of 𝐼𝐬𝐭𝐡. 𝐼𝐬𝐭𝐡, one who won Booker Prize twice for the first time. 𝐼𝐬𝐭𝐡, right? Famous work. There are a lot of famous. One is 𝚘, F-O-E, 𝚘, which is a retelling of Robinson Crusoe. Then Disgrace, that I consider his masterpiece. Then definitely go for French. Maybe when I say French, who comes to your mind? Of course, Canadian, you have someone has written, yes. Northrop Frye, Margaret Atwood, yes. Margaret Lawrence, yes. So similar way, when you say Russia, definitely you go for classic. When you say Russia, definitely Leo Tolstoy, then Dostoevsky. Read their famous, if you say, yes, Anna Karenina, read the gist of Anna Karenina. When it comes to classics, read the gist or the detailed summary of a work. Then you should also focus on Latin American literature. Very famous one, we have Gabriel Garcia Marquez and his famous work, 100 Years of Solitude. And let me know in the comment section, 100 Years of Solitude exemplifies a particular way of writing, kind of a technique. What is that? Where you can't separate the two, the real from the imaginary. It's magic realism. And when you start this way, you then go for who coined the term magic realism. Then you can make a list of magic realist works around the world. So when I say Salman Rushdie has written a magic realist text. He has written many, but that particular work won him Booker Prize. Is Midnight Children. So what you do, you make a list. See, these are some of the ways with which you can read world literature. Then strategy number 2 would be focus on literary prizes. For instance, you can focus on Booker Prize. So we have in 1981, Midnight Children, we have Salman Rushdie. Then 1997, Arundhati Roy's God of Small Things won that prize. In 2006, we have Kiran Desai's The Inheritance of Loss. In 2008, we have The White Tiger by Arvind Adiga. Earlier, I think in one of the NET exams, they asked a question, a chronology-based question based on this list, Indian novels which won Booker Prizes. Then here's a task for you. There are a lot of writers who won Booker Prize twice. One of them, we have South African writer James Coetzee, known for his famous work Disgrace, Life and Times of Michael K. So find out some of the other writers who won this prize twice. Okay, and this is one of the ways in which you can get to know the latest writings. So we have 2023 winner Paul Lynch, Lynch, Prophet Book. That's the novel which won the Booker Prize 2023. Then these are some of the prizes you can focus on and make a list. Yes, I'm getting answers. Yes, you have Margaret Atwood, Hilary Mantel, Peter Carey, James Coetzee. They all won these prizes twice. Then focus on Nobel Prize, Women's Prize for Fiction. Earlier it's called the Orange Prize. Then you can also focus on Sahitya Academy Award, Jnanpith Award. Then Canada, when it comes to Canada, focus on Governor General's Literary Awards. Then America, Pulitzer Prize, England, Costa Book Awards. So here is a novel for you, 𝙸𝚗𝚜𝚝 Copperhead by Barbara Kingsolver, American novelist. The moment we read this title, novel by Dickens, Charles Dickens comes to your mind. Which novel? 𝙸𝚗𝚜𝚝 Copperhead, David Copperfield, which is the inspiration for this work. And find out which two famous prizes won by this novel, 𝙸𝚗𝚜𝚝 Copperhead by Barbara Kingsolver. Definitely, as an American, she might have won Pulitzer Prize. What is the other prize? Next, sometimes you may not work hard, you can work smart. So we have books. Professor Academy provides you with a list of books. So we have a set of books, one for the novel, one for language and linguistics, one for poetry, one for prose, drama, short story, and theory. Then also for, this is a separate one, pointers, a list of points, easy to digest ones. So what we do, so if you take this book, the novel offered by Professor Academy, towards the end of this book, you have a list of prominent writers arranged in terms of their nationality. So if you take a Canadian, so you have a list of prominent Canadian novelists and their famous works. Similarly, we have a list for poets in terms of nationality, then prose for drama and for short story. So you need not make a list. We have the list. We also have in the book some of the analysis and other things. Okay, let's focus on linguistics next. So these days we get questions from chronology, Dalit literature, world literature. Then initially, we hardly get questions from linguistics, but these days we get at least a few questions from linguistics. But I think it depends on the person who sets questions. So if that person is good at linguistics, definitely will get a lot of questions from linguistics. So in the future, you can focus on, you can expect questions from linguistics. So here is a question from December 2021, shift 1. Who among the following represents the global spread of English diagrammatically as 3 concentric circles? A. 𝚑𝚗𝚜𝚎, B. 𝚘𝚑𝚘, B. David Crystal, C. Jenny Cheshire, B. 𝚘𝚘𝚝𝚜 Mufwang, MUFWN. Answer A. 𝚑𝚗𝚜𝚎 B. 𝚘𝚑𝚘. 𝚑𝚑𝚘 B. 𝚘𝚑𝚘 is an Indian linguist who coined the term World English and is famous for his book, The Alchemy of English. And he is the one who come up with these 3 concentric circles: inner circle, outer circle, expanding circle. So he divided the English speaking world into 3. So the inner circle refers to the nations where English is the first language. So we have Britain, Ireland, the USA, Canada, Australia, New Zealand. Outer circle refers to countries where English is a second or major language. So we have India, Pakistan, Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, Nepal, Singapore, Malaysia, Malawi, Nigeria. Then third, expanding circle where nations where English is a foreign language. They use English only for special purposes, for commercial or technical language. So we have China, Japan, Sweden, Israel, Greece, Czech Republic. Okay. So task number one, when it comes to linguistics, this is the book often prescribed. The Study of Language by George Yule in its 7th edition. What you can do, get this book or refer this book and focus on some of the basic concepts. We have displacement, minimal pair under phonology. Then under morphology, we have back formation. Then under semantics, we have hyponymy. Then we have the cooperative principle. Next, task 2. So you can use this book, English Phonetics and Phonology by Peter Roach, R-O-A-C-H. So find out these concepts, try to understand these concepts. I learned the basics of English phonology from this book, very easy to read on. Plosives, fricatives, affricates, diphthongs, schwa vowel, fortis, F-O-R-T-I-S, lenis, L-E-N-I-S, assimilation, elision. There are also other concepts. So kindly go through this book. Then the third one, you should also focus on history of the English language, also called the HEL. So generally, when we say HEL, history of English literature. So here you can go for history of the English language. These are the two books you can rely on. F.D. Wood's An Outline History of the English Language and History of the English Language by Albert C. Baugh, B-A-U-G-H, and Thomas Cable. First, focus on the Indo-European family of languages because under this or in this family we have English. Then focus on Grimm's Law and Werner's Law. So this topic is available in AC Box, History of the English Language. Then I don't think so far we haven't got any questions from English grammar. But I think in the future, definitely one of the question setters will realize, okay, students who are writing this exam is students of English literature, and definitely they should be good at English grammar. Because when it comes to TRB exams, conducted by our state, Tamil Nadu, we get questions from English grammar. But when it comes to exams like NET, we hardly get any questions from English grammar. So definitely in the future, there might be a question setter who can focus on English grammar. So if you want to brush up your basics, you can use Raymond Murphy's English Grammar in Use. But this is an advanced one, but a very comprehensive one. It's an voluminous work, A Comprehensive Grammar of the English Language by Randolph Quirk, then Sidney Greenbaum, Jeffrey Leach, and Jan Swartwick. Very famous one. If you want to look up any concept in the English language, this is the book you should go to. Then this is the final session of today's webinar, emerging fields. There are fields which are emerging and we get questions, at least one. So when it comes to emerging fields, you get straight questions. Who wrote this book? Or who coined these concepts? That kind of question. So try to answer this question from June 2024, which was cancelled. Which of the following books was edited by gay activist and artist Joseph Beam, B-E-A-M, and Essex Hemphill, H-E-M-P-H-I-L-L? Option A, Brother to Brother, New Writings by Black Gay Men, published in 1991. B, No Tea, No Shade, New Writings in Black Queer Studies, 2016. Then C, Race Men, published in 2000. D, Manning, M-A-N-N-I-N-G, Manning the Race, 2004. It's a bit tough unless you're aware of this field. It's tough to answer, but answer is A, Brother to Brother, New Writings by Black Gay Men, book edited by Joseph Beam and Essex Hemphill. So what you can do, focus on LGBT studies or pure studies. And one of the prominent critics, we have 𝐈𝐧𝐭𝐡, KOSOFSKY, Sedgwick, SEDGWACK, and this is a classic work, Epistemology of the Closet. Okay. So what you can do, make a list of critics under LGBT studies or queer studies. Then we have something called blue studies or blue humanities. And the one who founded this is Steve Mintz, MENTS, an introduction to the blue humanities. What do you mean by blue humanities or blue studies? You know, this critical approach focuses on works which are something related to a water body. It could be a pond or lake or sea or ocean. So let me know in the comment section, when I say sea or ocean, you know, which literary work comes to your mind? So if I say Shakespeare, so there is a prominent play in which the sea plays a major role. So immediately you will think of Caliban, then The Tempest. Then when I say American literature, you talk about fish and ocean, yes, The Old Man and the Sea. There's also Moby Dick. So now you're talking. So make a list. Definitely, you know, this will, or what you can do, get this book or refer this book, just look at the contents page. See, this is what you do. See, if you're new to a particular field, get a prominent book, you know, which is significant one, just go through the contents page. That will help you understand what this field is all about. Next, trauma studies. So when it comes to trauma studies, a famous critic, we have Cathy Caruth, CARUTH, Unclaimed Experience, Trauma, Narrative and History. By the way, what is trauma? Trauma, when we say trauma, something, the hardship you went through that haunts you for years, right? Which affected you mentally and physically. So trauma studies generally talks about literatures from World War I, World War II, and from historical events, which is horrific. Trauma studies, something that haunts you. And it need not be historical events, it could be from your personal life. Maybe it could be a tragedy you went through, loss of someone, or maybe you met with an accident. Everything comes under trauma studies. When I think of trauma studies, maybe is there a novel or is there a work which focuses on personal loss? Maybe disability studies can come under this category. Immediately think of Slow Man. Anyone knows Slow Man, a novel by South African novelist, which whom I mentioned earlier. Slow Man by J.M. Coetzee. So maybe I think that novel can be brought under trauma studies. Up to it's only an approach. Next, memory studies. So when we say memory studies, we have this critic, Astrid, ASTRID, ERLL. Famous book, Memory in Culture. What is memory studies? Which is associated with trauma studies. So this studies focuses on how memories are created. And the memories are filled with what? Is it a happy one or it's a tragedy? So how memories are created or how we retain certain things in our memory. And it also focuses on historical events that create such memory. Okay. And personal events and historical events, everything comes under one. So a simple thing, just go through the contents page of this book. Next one, disability studies, which is very prominent. We get a lot of questions these days from disability studies. So here is a critic who edited this anthology, The Disability Studies Reader by Leonard J. Davis, Lennard J. Davis. Okay. So with this, we finish today's session. And if you are interested in joining this course, which will be very useful, admissions are open. From next week, we are starting the course for UGC NET and SET for paper 1 and all the other courses. So you have English, Management, Commerce, Education, Computer Science, Economics, Law, Psychology, Tamil, and other courses. So you can contact these numbers 70701005 or the one end with 9. Okay. And these are some of our previous toppers, JRF toppers. Then we also have NET toppers from across years and 2022. So thank you so much for joining this session with me. I hope this is useful. And if you want to watch more videos in our later one, please subscribe to Professor Academy English and you can watch. And to join the course immediately, because we are starting next week, and we will start with my own lectures focusing on a particular theme. Then we'll focus on history of English literature, theory, linguistics, Indian literature, and world literature in different sessions. You'll also get tests, mock tests, and we'll go on and on. So we have separate apps for all these things. So for inquiry, you can contact the numbers. So thank you so much. If you have any questions, leave it in the comment section. We'll try to answer immediately, as soon as possible. Thank you so much.